For decades, movie lovers around the world believed there was something more between Maureen O'Hara and John Wayne than what appeared on screen. Their chemistry felt real, natural, and deeply emotional. Every time they appeared together in films like The Quiet Man, Rio Grande, and The Wings of Eagles, audiences sensed a bond that went beyond acting. Rumors followed them for years. Some believed they were secretly in love. Others thought they wanted to marry but never did. As time passed, these stories only grew stronger. Near the end of her life, Maureen O'Hara finally addressed those rumors in her own calm and honest way. She did not do it to shock anyone or create drama. She did it to set the record straight. To understand why the rumors existed at all, it helps to understand who Maureen O'Hara really was. Born Maureen Fitzsimons on August 17, 1920, in Dublin, Ireland, she grew up in a home filled with discipline, creativity, and ambition. Her mother was a trained singer who saw talent in her daughter early on, while her father encouraged confidence and independence. From a young age, Maureen studied music and drama, training at respected schools like the Abbey Theatre School. Unlike many young actresses of her time, she entered film with a serious mindset. She did not see acting as decoration or fantasy. She saw it as work, craft, and responsibility. When she arrived in Hollywood as a teenager, she stood out immediately. She was striking, confident, and strong-willed. These qualities helped her rise quickly, especially after her powerful performance as Esmeralda in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Audiences saw something rare in her: beauty paired with strength and emotional honesty. As her career grew through the 1940s and 1950s, Maureen O'Hara became known for playing women who spoke their minds and stood their ground. She did not play passive roles. She played women with pride, fire, and moral clarity. It was during this time that she began working with director John Ford and actor John Wayne. From their very first collaborations, something special appeared on screen. But what audiences saw as romance was in truth something very different. As Maureen would later explain, the connection between her and John Wayne was built on trust, respect, and shared values, not romance. They came from similar backgrounds, believed in loyalty, and valued honesty. John Wayne treated her as an equal, something rare in Hollywood at the time. He respected her strength and never tried to overshadow her. That mutual respect created a powerful on-screen energy that people misread as romantic love. But for Maureen, the truth was simple. She admired John Wayne deeply, trusted him completely, and valued him as a friend, but she never saw him as a lover. This truth would take many years to fully explain, because Hollywood and the public preferred the myth. As Maureen O'Hara's career continued to rise, her partnership with John Wayne became one of the most respected and admired in classic Hollywood. Together, they appeared in 5 films, each one strengthening the belief among audiences that their connection was romantic. Yet behind the scenes, their relationship followed very different rules. Maureen often explained that John Wayne was one of the few men in Hollywood she felt completely safe with. He protected her, respected her boundaries, and treated her with genuine kindness. In an industry where many women felt pressured or silenced, that kind of respect stood out. Maureen was a strong woman who did not tolerate mistreatment, and John Wayne understood that. He admired her independence and never tried to control or diminish her. Their friendship grew from shared values rather than attraction. Both believed in loyalty, honesty, and professionalism. When working together, they trusted each other fully, which allowed their performances to feel natural and powerful. Audiences mistook that trust for romance because Hollywood rarely showed men and women as equals. In films like The Quiet Man, their characters clashed, challenged each other, and ultimately found understanding. That emotional balance felt real because it was built on genuine respect. Maureen later explained that John Wayne was not her romantic type. While she acknowledged his charm and charisma, she saw him more as a brother or protector. He was someone she could rely on, not someone she dreamed about. Over the years, she grew frustrated that people refused to accept this truth. She believed that society often confused chemistry with romance, especially when a man and woman shared deep connection and admiration. Beyond her professional life, Maureen's personal relationships followed a very different path. She married young, long before she fully understood herself or the pressures of fame. Her early marriages brought pain, disappointment, and emotional strain. Despite becoming a mother and finding joy in raising her daughter, she struggled to find lasting peace in love. These experiences shaped her understanding of relationships. They taught her that true love required stability, trust, and mutual respect, not fantasy or public approval. It was only later in life, when she married Charles Blair, that she found a sense of calm and partnership that felt real. This made her even more certain that what she shared with John Wayne had never been romantic love. It was friendship at its strongest form. When Charles Blair tragically died in a plane crash, Maureen faced grief unlike anything she had known before. That same year, she also battled cancer. These life-altering events forced her to reflect deeply on what truly mattered. Fame, rumors, and public opinion faded in importance. What remained were truth, memory, and loyalty. During interviews later in life, Maureen spoke honestly about John Wayne, describing him as one of the greatest friends she ever had in Hollywood. She said he stood by her without asking for anything in return. That kind of bond, she believed, was rare and often misunderstood. The rumors never bothered her because they were untrue, but she felt the need to clarify them so that people would understand the value of real friendship over imagined romance. In the final years of her life, Maureen O'Hara reflected on her career, her friendships, and the rumors that had followed her for decades. She recognized that the fascination with her relationship with John Wayne stemmed from more than just curiosity. It reflected how people longed to believe in fairy tale romances, especially in Hollywood. But Maureen never allowed herself to live in illusions. She understood the difference between chemistry on screen and love in real life. When she spoke about John Wayne, she emphasized that their connection was based on mutual admiration, trust, and respect, qualities that allowed them to create unforgettable films together. She often told interviewers that the trust and loyalty between them were rare, and that she valued it more than any public perception or false narrative. Maureen also reflected on how her experiences in Hollywood shaped her perspective on relationships, both personal and professional. From her early struggles to her later triumphs, she realized that independence, self-respect, and clear boundaries were more important than fame or public approval. She acknowledged that audiences would always want a story, a romance, or a scandal, but her life had been richer, deeper, and more meaningful than what could be reduced to a rumor. In recounting the truth about John Wayne, she hoped to teach a subtle but important lesson: that the bonds built on respect, honesty, and loyalty can be as powerful, if not more, than romantic love. For Maureen, these bonds allowed her to survive the pressures of Hollywood, endure personal losses, and emerge as one of the most respected actresses of her generation. She continued to act with dignity, grace, and courage well into her later years, earning an honorary Academy Award and universal admiration for her contributions to film. By clarifying the nature of her relationship with John Wayne, she reminded audiences that not all connections are defined by romance. Some are defined by trust, integrity, and a shared commitment to excellence. In the end, Maureen O'Hara's life was defined by her strength, her artistry, and her ability to remain authentic in a world that often demanded illusion. The rumors about John Wayne were never true in the way people imagined, but the truth she shared was even more remarkable. It was a story of real friendship, professional respect, and unwavering loyalty that endured through decades of fame, loss, and change. By finally speaking honestly, she left behind not just a record of her accomplishments, but a timeless example of how a bond built on respect and integrity can be as memorable, meaningful, and inspiring as any love story in Hollywood history. Her clarification allowed fans and historians alike to see the real Maureen O'Hara, strong, independent, wise, and devoted to the people who mattered most in her life. It was a truth that transcended rumors, enduring not in gossip, but in admiration for a life lived with courage, honesty, and grace. Maureen O'Hara, one of Hollywood's brightest stars, had a career that spanned decades, but she is perhaps best remembered for her on-screen chemistry with John Wayne. From the moment they first worked together, audiences sensed something remarkable between them. Their pairing in films like Rio Grande and The Quiet Man showcased a natural connection, a spark that went beyond acting. People often wondered if their relationship existed only on screen, or if it reflected something deeper. For many years, O'Hara politely sidestepped the rumors, offering answers with humor and grace, never confirming nor denying anything. Yet in her later years, she chose to speak candidly, revealing a truth that was both surprising and deeply moving. She explained that the connection she shared with Wayne was real, but it was not the kind of romance people imagined. "Yes, we loved each other," she said, "and yes, it was real. But it wasn't an affair. It was deeper, stronger, and built on trust, respect, and shared values." Maureen described the love she and Wayne shared as quiet and enduring, a bond that did not demand public acknowledgement or scandal. Their relationship was rooted in their personalities. Both were fiercely independent, proud of their Irish heritage, and held strong moral codes. These shared principles created a connection that was emotionally intense, but never exploitative. They were able to understand each other in ways few people could, recognizing the pressures and expectations of Hollywood, while maintaining their own sense of integrity. The trust they developed was evident not just off-screen, but in their performances, where audiences could feel the authenticity of their emotions. O'Hara often recalled how easy it was to work with Wayne because they communicated without words. A glance, a gesture, or a shared moment could convey volumes, creating on-screen scenes that felt alive and genuine. Yet, despite the strength of their bond, circumstances and timing prevented it from becoming a public romance. Both were married to other people at different points in their careers, and neither was willing to betray those commitments. This restraint, O'Hara explained, was part of what made their love remarkable. It was a pure connection, untainted by dishonesty or public scandal. She reflected on the nature of Hollywood during their time, noting that the industry often demanded conformity and public appearances that left little room for authentic human relationships. Actors were expected to maintain perfect images, which made private, genuine connections rare and precious. O'Hara and Wayne's bond was one such rarity. They supported each other in times of challenge, both professionally and personally. Wayne was known for his reliability and integrity, qualities O'Hara admired deeply. She described him as a steadying force in her life, someone she could count on when the pressures of fame became overwhelming. The emotional intimacy they shared allowed them to perform with honesty and vulnerability, enhancing their films and leaving a lasting impression on audiences. Behind the scenes, they shared laughter, conversation, and mutual respect, forming memories that O'Hara would carry with her for the rest of her life. Even as their lives followed separate paths, their friendship endured. O'Hara emphasized that the love she and Wayne shared was not defined by physical possession or public acknowledgement, but by an understanding so profound that words were almost unnecessary. It was this rare quality, she explained, that set their connection apart from the casual romances and fleeting affairs often seen in Hollywood.